Ay, ay, ay. New conservative group got $1.6 billion from a single donor.
This IRS document obtained by CNN is evidence of the largest anonymous dark money political donation ever reported. $1.6 billion. It is, according to experts, a staggering amount.
I am just stunned.
What do you mean, according to experts? You don't have to ask an expert. Like, that's just according to every human being. Like, I love that they were like, well, we asked experts if $1.6 billion is a lot of money by a singular donor to a singular organization. Yeah, no, man, that's a lot of cookies, dude. That's just a lot in general. That's, wow. Yeah. Thank you for the 138,234 million subs. Thank you to the donor.
We are talking about income that is many multiples larger than the largest dark money groups ever found.
And it's going to a new organization called Marble Freedom Trust. While you've probably never heard of it or the man in charge of it, the whole country is familiar with his work. His name is Leonard Leo, a devout Catholic known as Donald.
My name is Hasan Piker, and I know how to fix the world, but I just stream instead. Yeah, dude, I'm holding the world back by streaming instead of single-handedly fixing the world. Dude, a lot of good chatters in here today. A lot of funniness happening in the chat. Anyway, let's run that back. Sorry.
The whole country is familiar with his work. His name is Leonard Leo, a devout Catholic known as Donald Trump's Supreme Court whisperer.
There are lots of really smart people, Margaret, who can serve on the U.S. Supreme Court. Dozens and dozens.
That makes sense why they did the Roe v. Wade thing then. It kind of makes sense. Like, I mean, they were getting paid for, their work. They were getting paid to do the thing.
But you need people who have courage.
Leo helped usher in the most conservative Supreme Court in decades. Along with helping block Merrick Garland from the court, he and his colleagues at the Federalist Society are given credit for the confirmations of Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett.
It was Leo who was in the driver's seat of those nominations. Leo is the person who can raise the money and has the background to put in place judges who will build a conservative judicial infrastructure around the country.
Leonard Leo now has an unprecedented amount of cash to spend on whatever.
People who are saying, what is the Federalist Society? Guys, I've done a million videos on this. Please just go to my YouTube channel. I don't know what else to say other than just please go to my YouTube channel, okay? Hasan Piker, Federalist. There you go. I typed in Hasan Piker Federalist, conservative secret weapon that is destroying America. So let's talk about, okay, there you go. Here, I'll make it easy for you, okay? Here. I'm not even making you search. I'm just literally linking it. There you go. Our reporting sheds additional light. Leo derives immense political power. No, Leo is the main guy, not... Leo's the guy who got the donation or secured the donation. Leo said it was high time for the conservative movement to be among the ranks of George Soros, Hans-Jörg Wyss, Arabella Advisors, and other left-wing philanthropists. An unusual maneuver. Leonard Leo was added as an officer to Bear Side's company. Side left the company board, and his name was crossed out in the corporate disclosure. The creators of the Marble Freedom Trust shrouded their project. The group's name does not appear in any public database, business, or tax securities records. The trust was formed in Utah. Said's $1.6 billion donation is a landmark in the era of deregulated political spending ushered in by the Supreme Court's 2010 Citizens United decision. Said? Who the fuck is this? Even a semi-public glimpse of Said was rare. A select group of political activists, academics, and fundraisers were ushered to Trip Light headquarters to pitch Said at his office. Despite his status as one of the country's most prolific funders of conservative causes, and despite his decades as the president and sole owner of the country's most successful electronics makers, Said has spent most of his 90 years painstakingly guarding his privacy. There are no art galleries, opera companies, or theaters, or university buildings emblazoned with his name in the hometown of Chicago. There's even some confusion over how to pronounce his last name. People who've dealt with him say it's Side. The Lever and ProPublica piece together details of his life and his motivations for his extensive donations throughout interviews, court records, and other documents obtained through public requests. One of the only photos of Side that the Lever and ProPublica could find shows him as a 14-year-old walking in a small group across a college campus. Side grew up in the south side of Chicago, the oldest of two brothers, according to his census records. A precocious child, he was chosen for a special bachelor's degree program at the University of Chicago, not far from his childhood home. He attended the University of Chicago in the early years of the Chicago School. Of course he did. A group of professors and researchers who would reimagine the field of economics. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, of course he was a part of the Chicago School. By the mid-'60s, Said had taken over as Tripp Manufacturing's president. In the decades to come, the company, now called Tripp Light, became a pick and shovel business for the digital gold rush. The company sells the power strips that supply electricity to computers and the server racks, cooling equipment, and network switches that make data centers run. Business surged with the shift to cloud computing and the proliferation of vast data centers. That boom vaulted him from the ranks of merely rich to the super rich. Said was making around $30 million per year by the mid-1990s. His annual income, vast majority of which came from Tripp Light's profits, took off in the mid-2000s and steadily rose, hitting around $157 million in 2018. Tripp Light, which was 100% owned by Said, contributed $136 million to his total income that year. Even as Said built a $1 billion+ business, it's the rich motherfuckers that you don't hear about that you got to worry about, dude. Forbes never put him on a list of the wealthiest Americans, and business and political press rarely mentioned him. Yet he was becoming a major donor. He gave at least $775 million in charitable donations between 1996 and 2018, a period in which he reported $1.7 billion in income according to his tax records. Said parceled out a small portion of the donations. The funniest part about this is that he's Jewish. He's Jewish, and he's giving money to the Federalist Society after they did something that is like literally antithetical to Judaism, which is stopping women from being able to get abortions. Like, he's just so brain broken by like the American Christianity and its like understanding of abortions that he's just like, yeah, no, this was great. I read somewhere that the Said dude donated all the shares of his company to Leo before it was sold for $1.6 billion and avoided taxes on the donation. Also, the right is insanely anti-Semitic. Not as much in like recent years, but yes, still, that is true. Not openly, at least. Or at least they have built allegiances, at least for Zionism. That's why they say Judeo-Christian values instead of Christian values nowadays. Said appears to have continually sought new vehicles for dispensing. Look, if you want to understand what like right-wing reactionary Jewish people and their opinion is on like anti-Semitism, here, I'll just show you this. Okay, this is like pretty instructive. Here. Ann Coulter tweets, Jews awful, nonsensical. Ann Coulter is also super pro-Israel and has always been so I won't lose sleep. There is no better representation of reactionary Jews and their sentiment around like right-wingers saying anti-Semitic shit than this tweet. It lives in my mind. You understand? How did you find a 90-like tweet? Because I remember it from the top of my mind, because I probably deleted some formative fucking memories in my mind to remember dumb shit like that for your own entertainment. That's why I'm the best at what I do. Is that a good way to explain it to you? My sadness? Anyway. Said appears to have continually sought new vehicles for dispensing his money and maintaining as much anonymity as possible. The GMU emails also show a redacted donor who activists believe to be Said based on other unredacted emails, routing donations to the school through Donors Trust or Donors Capital Fund, two donor-advised funds that provide an additional level of anonymity. While the roots of Said and Leo's professional relationships aren't clear, the two worked together at a small foundation Said formed in 2009 called the Chicago Freedom Trust, a charity that gave out small grants to non-political groups. Leo later joined the foundation's board. The GMU emails provide an inkling of the relationship between the two men. In early 2016, Said emailed the dean of the GMU's law school and the head of a prominent American Jewish organization to urge them to work together. The dean, Henry Butler, forwarded Said's message to Leo, seeking a better understanding of Said's intentions. Do you have any insight? Butler wrote. I do not, but I will find out, Leo replied. That month, Marble Freedom Trust was created, and Said subsequently transferred 100% ownership stake in Tripp Light to the trust. This motherfucker is literally going to die. And before he's like 90 years old, he is impossibly wealthy. And before he dies, he's like, I want to make sure that like the world is fucked over. He doesn't have children. He doesn't have anyone to give the money to. So he's just like giving it to his pet project of like fucking everyone over. In February 2021, Tripp Light filed its annual reports with the state of Illinois as it had done for decades. But this time, Said's typewritten name had been crossed out as an officer of the company. Added as an officer written by hand was Leonard Leo. A Tripp Light subsidiary in Nova Scotia, Canada, similarly removed Said as a director and added Leo as a director in March 2021. Then, later at the same month, Eaton Corporation, a large publicly traded company, acquired Tripp Light for $1.65 billion. Transactions appear to have been carefully sequenced to reap massive tax savings. Selling a company that has grown in value after decades of ownership is treated the same way for tax purposes as a person selling a share of stock. If the property has grown in value, capital gains taxes are due when it's sold. So I guess the way he fucking wanted to do it is he wanted to make sure that Leo got all of it. He wanted to give $1.6 billion to Leo without a single fucking dime of it paid back to the government. And this is the way to do it. But Sade transferred Trip Light to the Marble Freedom Trust, a nonprofit that is exempt from income tax, before the electronics company was sold. As a result, lawyers say Sade avoided up to $400 million in state and federal income tax, preserving those funds for Leo's operation. That's awesome. That's the power of a 501c3, boys. That's the power of a 501c motherfucking 3. 501c4, sorry, not a C3. Whereas if you give money to the 501c4, there's no charitable deduction for giving the money, but you avoid the tax on all that appreciation. Political advocacy nonprofits like the Marble Freedom Trust are formerly called 501c4 social welfare organizations after the section of the tax code. Informally, they're known as dark money groups. Sorry, the 501c3 is like a regular philanthropy group. This is more of a political social welfare organization. Donors can remain secret. That's why they're known as dark money groups, in contrast to the public disclosures required for gifts of political campaigns or super PACs. While they can spend money directly advocating for or against candidates in political campaigns, such spending cannot be their primary purpose. In giving to such a dark money group, Sade also avoided another federal levy, the gift tax, thanks to a change signed into law by President Barack Obama in 2015. Thanks, Obama. There's a reason why giving money specifically to a trust might have been attractive for an older and ideological donor such as Sade. The founding documents that lay out how the trust will spend money can be harder to change than governing documents of a corporation, according to Lloyd Hitoshi Mayer. Mayer added that while corporations usually have at least 3 directors, trusts can have just a single trustee in charge of an organization's activities. Leo is the trustee and the chairman of the Marble Freedom Trust. In other words, Leo is now in charge of a massive sum of money. He gifted this dude in charge of the Federalist Society $1.7 million in a singular dono, okay?
For political projects he likes. And while the donation was meant to be kept secret, name and address withheld on the IRS form, CNN has confirmed the source is
Oh, did I say million? Sorry, it's a billion with a B.
Businessman and philanthropist Barry Side, who...
Damn, they fucking found him. They got him. They found a photo of him. I guess the only photo, literally the only fucking known photo of this dude. That's crazy.
Donated the stock of his entire company, the Trip Light Company of Chicago, to Marble Freedom Trust, which turned around and sold it for $1.6 billion. CNN has attempted to reach Mr. Side without response. His donation will leave behind a dark money political legacy that could last decades. Already, Marble Freedom Trust has given more than $200 million to other causes, including $40 million to Donors Trust, which has doled out millions to conservative causes. In a statement to CNN, Leonard Leo said it's high time for the conservative movement to be among the ranks of George Soros and other left-wing philanthropists going toe-to-toe in the fight to defend.
This is such a funny tape because, like, Sheldon Adelson exists. You know what I mean? Like, there are already billionaires, like the Kochs. The Koch brothers exist. Like these motherfuckers act like that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Left-wing billionaire George Soros. So left-wing, by the way.
And our Constitution and its ideals. Jake, that is an understatement. This amount of money dwarfs any previous dark money single contribution we could find, and certainly dwarfs the liberal funds Leonard Leo is referencing. One other note of significance, according to tax experts we've talked to, this deal looks like it's set up so an entire company is donated and then sold tax-free by everyone involved. A $1.6 billion transaction with no tax.